ordained minister, right? So do you do any preaching too, or when do you do that? Okay, so you do fill it. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm always fascinated. Talking pastors, how long do they take to prepare a sermon or something? I mean, it's got to be a lot of work.
So, you know, I didn't know that Kalamazoo College was a four-year school. I knew that Western was. I didn't know. So it must be private.
Yes. I think it was originally open to schools.
Okay.
And that's what they have affiliation. And then college it's just top.
So do they have dorms and everything too? Where is it? Where is it located?
So when you're going on West Main, you know where the Tunsil Woods are?
Mm-hmm.
That's
K College. Okay. What's the enrollment like? Okay. I'm assuming Western's a lot bigger.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah. So do they have any sports teams?
I think that's yep.
Okay.
Because I sure said that's got to be a lot of work to engage. You know, because how often a year to go like 45 minutes or longer? Okay. Yeah, that's probably right. You can't do it.
It's now 6 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and call the January 13th meeting of the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board to order. I hope everyone had a wonderful end of the year and holiday and is looking forward to all that the new year will bring. Roll call, please.
Right. Jason Allen has an excused absence. Christopher Caldwell.
Here.
Okay. Ashley Huber.
Present.
Wally Farrar.
Present.
Ebony Hempel. Is that absent? Okay. Barbara Miller.
Here.
Regina Miller.
Here.
Susan Stapleton.
Here.
And Teresa Thrash has an excused absence. And Tamara Sturdivant.
Here.
All right. So thank you for being here tonight in person as well as the city's live streaming platforms. Public comments will be accepted during the times as indicated on today's meeting agenda. Community members that wish to provide public comments over the phone can call 888-382-9556 during the citizen comments period. They will enter the queue and will be prompted to offer their comments in turn.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like a motion to adopt the minutes of December 9th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now we're going to hear from the Office of Professional Standards.
Good evening, everyone. Inspector Chuck Mason with Professional Standards. You have before you the there's still a couple PCRs outstanding that are in review. One open, but you have before you the overall PCR numbers for 2025. As the chief reviews those outstanding ones that are under his review and then the last open investigation, those will be reflected in the Professional Standards annual report, which will probably be out at the end of the first quarter of this year. So does anyone have any questions on the 2025 stats?
Just noticed one that's still open from September.
Yes.
Seems a little lengthy.
It's lengthy. It was a more complex complaint, and there were a couple of internal things that got in the way, but it's being worked on. And
Great.
Hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have it wrapped up.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. There are no questions on it. I'm going to have Chief Boyson and perhaps Chief Green, but just Chief Boyson step up, and he's going to give you an update on the 2025 crime stats.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Inspector Mason, and again, thank you for allowing me to be a guest at the meeting here. And my name is David Boyson. I think I met everyone. There's a couple new faces on the board, so welcome. And then thanks for reminding me. Apparently, I have 2 files on my desk that I need to review. So they're my to-do file, and I'll make sure I get on those. So, but yeah, I'm really happy to share with the board kind of a 2025 year-end review. We're really excited at Public Safety, and I think there's a lot of excitement in the community about some of the really good work that's been going on in the community. And we've worked really hard. One of the things I've always said is that our #1 job at Kalamazoo Public Safety is to keep the community safe. And we can do all the great things in the world, outreach and programs, but if our community is not safe, at the end of the day, we can't build legitimacy and trust. So it's really important for us to be effective at our core mission, which is keep the community safe. And I'm really happy to report our 2025 crime statistics because I'm calling them really, and they are historic drops in crime, both property crime and violent crime. In fact, we're at 10-year lows in violent crime and property crime, which is significant, and we've seen steady declines, particularly over the last 5 years. So I'm going to get into that. But I just want to qualify that and saying that's not all just us. Yes, the men and women at Public Safety have worked extremely hard to make this happen, but it's our community partners working alongside of us that has really helped make this possible. And so we have a lot of great things behind the scenes that we work hand in hand with our community. So Chief Green, if you want to start the next slide here. So again, I really want to touch on the great success in our strategies and our reduction in crime, but we're doing that through the better use and effective use of technology, community engagement, and really the focused approach and that balance between outreach and enforcement, which is the key. We're going to continue to invest in our community partnerships and our personnel, especially officer wellness. And as you guys hopefully know, we're committed to transparency and openness. That's why we're very accessible to our community, and we really host regular meetings with our community to make sure we maintain those relationships. If you go to the next one. So this is, I don't know if you've seen this, but this was released on our YouTube. Have you all seen this? Okay, I'm good. I'm not going to subject all of you to this again, but some of it'll be the first time. But this is on our Facebook page, YouTube, and I shared this today at a downtown town hall meeting. I really want to get the word out in the community about some of these numbers because I think it's exciting. And we also know at Public Safety that sometimes perception doesn't always keep pace with reality, and we want to try to change that perception narrative about Kalamazoo. So with that, Chief Green, can you take it away and play the video? Okay, so I thought that was a pretty good overview of a lot of hard work that's taken place throughout the years. So again, I really applaud the men and women at Public Safety for their hard work and our community partners, which you are part of our community partners. So again, here's kind of the numbers again. But I think is what's significant is, this is steady decreases year over year. So this is not, and I tell my staff, I'm meeting with all my staff, this is not luck or a fluke. This is sustained efforts and a strategy that is working. So really happy with that. You can go to the next one. And then just on homicides alone, so 2025, the number of homicides we had in 2025 is the lowest we've had since 2018. So it's really encouraging. So we definitely got to keep that up. And so people ask me, well, what are you doing to make these numbers happen? And it's easy to say, well, if it was one thing that we would have done it years ago, because it's not one thing. This is a lot of pieces of strategy, and I could sit here and talk for about 2 or 3 hours about all the things we're doing. I'm not going to do that to you. But I will tell you that I think one of the key things that we've really implemented in this last year, in addition to improved use of technology, is really improved leverage of community partnerships. So we've always done for the last many years a weekly crime reduction meeting, which happens on Tuesday, where we share information about who is driving crime and violence in our community. And we know that a small number of people drives the majority of the violence. And most of the times, the people in the room, the staff knows who those folks are. So we develop strategies to, address the most violent people. But we also, and that's on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have a community outreach meeting. And this is where I think is what's special. Not a lot of other communities are doing this. In fact, I don't know of anyone in Michigan that is doing this. But on Wednesday, we bring in community partners from various community groups, Community Violence Intervention, Peace During War, Bent Not Broken, Pastors on Patrol, Police Athletic League, our community partners, and we bring them into headquarters, and my staff shares information with them from that crime reduction meeting, and that's a one-way information sharing session. We give them information, we don't get information from them. We tell them who is at risk, who's driving the violence, who we think is going to be involved in our next violent incident, and almost every time in that room, someone knows, either maybe they said, hey, I used to coach that kid in basketball, or I know mom, or I know dad, I know a family member, and we have them do interventions behind the scene to help calm these things down. Because we know that law enforcement and criminal justice system is formal social control, and that can only go so far. It's that informal social control is way more effective when you have someone you respect, like I said, a coach, a teacher, a community member saying, hey, knock it off, or you need to stop doing this stuff. That is way more effective. So what we're doing is we are coordinating those two efforts. It's that, again, that balance between outreach and enforcement, and it's not one or the other, it's doing both and coordinating those two, which that's why we got a quick picture of this this meeting that we just had a couple weeks ago. So super important. So you go to the next slide. And again, these are, I didn't cover this in this last shot, the presentation, but shots fired are continuing to decrease year over year. It's not just people hit and homicides, but just gun violence in our community in general is on decline. So next one, and this is our fatal and non-fatal shootings. So you see the orange, those are non-fatal shootings, and the blue are fatal shootings. And you can see all areas have steadily declined. And again, you'd have to go back to 2018 to find less than 7. That year we had 6 homicides. So again, 1 is too many, and we're not saying we're done. We're going to continue this, but we are trending in the right direction. So. Again, we work hard. One of the things I think has helped driving these numbers down is we have to be effective. So when there is a shooting or a crime, we solve those as quick as possible, especially when it comes to gun violence group involved. If you don't get ahead of it, that's going to cause retaliatory shootings. So if we can get those cases closed, the quicker the better. I'm happy to report we've solved 6 of 7 homicides. So we have 1 open from last year that they are continuing to work on. And then we're also looking at back in 2021, 22, 23, we had a spike in homicides. If we go back to that chart, you see the numbers were high those years. It was the post-pandemic. It was just, it just takes a little while to recover from some of those things that happened. And so recognizing that, we've worked on, we got a cold case team that we assigned now to go back and look at those cases. We partnered with Western Michigan University and their cold case team to go back and look at some of those cases from 21, 22, 23 in particular. I'm happy to report that we've got charges on 2 of those cold homicides. So we're going to continue to do that to make sure that we hold people accountable and bring closure to those families and their victims. And again, I saw in that highlight, but my officers seized 407 illegal firearms off the street last year, which to me is still a crazy number. I think we were over 400 last year as well. That's more than a gun a day these officers are taking off the street. So to me, when I started 30 years ago, if you got a gun off the street, that was a big deal. You didn't see that very often. Now, literally more than a gun a day we're taking off the streets on average. So you go to the next one. When I talked about technology, it's really important that we leverage technology to make us more effective. One of the things I talked about earlier about the perception versus reality on how safe the community is, we're trying to help that perception. One of the things, Deputy Chief and I were out of town at a conference in Nashville, and there was these police cameras at every intersection. You know, the white boxes with the blue lights. They're almost at every intersection in downtown Nashville. So we brought that here. The City Commission supported a pilot program where we got 10 of these locations throughout the downtown Central Business District and Northside Cultural Business District. So you should see some of those out here. There's a picture of one. And again, it's mostly for prevention, but if we do have an incident, that allows us to go back and rewind, see what was happening, and help us solve those cases quicker if we do have an incident that happens. License plate reader technology is still, if you talk to my detectives, that is the #1 tool they're using to solve our shootings and homicides, because almost every crime has a vehicle as a nexus. They're taking it to or from the scene, and we have solved homicides with that equipment that I am almost certain we would not have solved without that technology. So we added 19 additional locations, 19 additional cameras in 7 additional locations. And then the other thing that's helping us solve crime is our Fusus integrated camera system that allows us to, it's a public-private partnership, so if you have businesses with security cameras, if they give us access, we can access their exterior cameras. So if something happens, we're able to rewind that, see what happens, and then we're able to get an image of that suspect out to the patrol cars on their computers in their cars. So technology that didn't even dream of when I started is now really helping us keep our community safe. And really the message we want is, if you're gonna do a crime, don't do it in Kalamazoo because you will get caught. So go to the next one. These are the locations you can see where we've done this pilot program for these cameras. Again, we're focusing right now on the downtown business district and Northside business district, but we are certainly looking to maybe expand that in the future, looking at maybe off campus, the student housing area off Western Michigan University for a few sites, as well as some others. So we're hearing a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of residents are they're asking for these in their neighborhoods, which I think is a good sign to show the trust that we built with the community, and to show that we are using this technology the right way to help our community, and we're not abusing this technology. Go on the next one. Just another update on something we're really excited about at Public Safety. This mobile nuisance issue, I'm sure you're hopefully familiar with this, but this has been a curse on our community for as many years as I've been here in one form or another, and I've been here over 30 years. And we've tried many things to stop it, and nothing has been successful or sustainable. So just so you know what the mobile nuisance party is, it really impacts, disproportionately impacts the Northside residential neighborhoods. You'll have hundreds of cars or more coming in, and it's usually like 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on usually a Saturday evening. And the residents are tired of it. They can't sleep at night. It causes all kinds of issues with litter and trash, loud noise, and then usually we have 1 or 2 shooting incidents a year stemming from this activity. The big concern that we have with this is the safety risk for our community. So if you have a rescue, like a medical emergency in your home, many times we couldn't get a rescue rig or an apparatus or an ambulance down your street because of gridlock from the traffic. Or if we have a shooting, we can't get to the victim to render aid because we can't even, bring our equipment to the scene. So we had to do something. So I really applaud our city commission, and we worked with them this last winter and spring, and we were able to, and our city attorney's office worked closely with them, and we were able to amend our ordinance for mobile nuisance parties. I've learned from experience that folks involved in this type of activity don't really care about tickets. They don't care about arrests even. But if you tow their car, they do care. And we tried towing their cars during the incident, but you can see from this image, this is Chicago Munchies here from not this last summer, but the summer before. They know there's hundreds of cars and we might tow 1 or 2 and then the rest will drive off. So it's, it wasn't that much of a deterrent. with this new ordinance that allows us to, if we identify your car in this, we use our real-time crime center to look at the data from the cameras and the officer's body cameras, and we identify cars that are involved. They get a warning letter from me that says, your car's been identified as participating in this activity. This is your warning. If you are involved, if your vehicle is involved in this again, we will impound it, and we impound it at our convenience. We don't have to do it the night of. We can do it on Monday, Tuesday afternoon, whenever it might be. And so if you go to the next slide there, Chief Green. So this first year, since we had the ordinance, and again, April 25th through October 29th, that is the prime mobile nuisance activity, spring and summer and early fall, we delivered 1,104 warning letters, most of those in person, many by certified mail, because a lot of folks are from out of town, which I'll cover here in a second. And I was really pleased to see that of the 1,104 letters that we sent out, we only had to tow 58 cars. So most people took the warning and listened. Some did not. Of that 58, we had to tow a few more than once because they were really dedicated to the mobile nuisance parties and didn't want to give it up. So I'm really happy to say that's working. If you go to the next slide, Chief Green, I think we got the map on there. Yes, so again, we use data to make us more effective in everything we do. And if you look at those blue dots on your map of Michigan here, every one of those blue dots represent a car that was involved in nuisance activity. So as you can see, over half of the cars involved aren't even from the city of Kalamazoo. So they're coming into our city, coming into our neighborhoods, causing chaos and tearing up our towns, interrupting people's sleep, and then they leave and go back home. No more, because I don't care where you live, you're going to get a letter. And I don't care who's driving your car. We don't, again, this is towards the vehicle, not the person driving it. We're towing the car. So again, this has been a big win, and we've really seen a lot of success with this. And I've had folks in the community tell me for the first time they're able to get sleep at night in their homes on a Saturday night, which I think is all I need to hear. That so we're going to keep doing this. But again, it's using that technology and really strategies that we develop during our group violence intervention strategies about, hey, we know who the people are, let's directly communicate them, give them the warning. If they choose to ignore it, that's on them, and there'll be consequences. So if you go to the next one. This is just a copy of the letter that everybody gets, and spells out the ordinance, the type of activity that they can't do, and puts them on notice that this is your warning. And so when they do it again, they can't blame anyone but themselves. So it's been very effective. So that's a big win for our staff too, because talk about killing morale in the department when you have to come in every weekend and deal with this activity until literally 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So you're about 9, 10 hours in your shift, and this thing is just getting started, and you're tired, and it's overwhelming. And so I'm just glad, not only for the community's sake, but for my officer's sake, that we've got a strategy that works. Go to the next one. Homeless outreach, to just touch on this briefly, we know that that is a big concern. We do community surveys and find out what the concerns of the community, and usually issues surrounding our unhoused population is usually one of the top 3 concerns. And so we put more resources towards it. So we have, before we had a sergeant and an officer assigned to our community service team. This last year we expanded that by 2 additional officers, so we have 3 officers and a sergeant. And their job really is to, again, like I talked about, a small number of people drive the majority of the problems, identifying who these repeat calls for service people are, building relationships with them, talking to them, and making sure they get the services they need. And we work closely with ISK, Integrated Services Kalamazoo. We have embedded social workers that ride with the officers to make sure these folks are getting the services they need. So it's been very successful. Finding a Way Home program, we know that a lot of folks get kind of dumped off in Kalamazoo. Many times they don't even know, if you talk to them, why they're here. They have no connections here, no family here. And we give them opportunity to go back to where their support system is. And we have funds that we've gotten through private donations to allow us to relocate to where their support systems are. We don't just dump them off like people do to us. We make sure that they have a support system before we make that arrangement. So next one there, Chief Green. Touch on victim advocate role. This is something that we created. It's fairly new, but Tanya Turner was our community collaborator, and I kind of retasked her with also being a victim advocate. And I realized that one person is not enough, so I'm really pleased to say in 2026 here, on actually January 5th, we started a second victim advocate who is in the room, Caressa Bryan, if you know her. So I told her I wasn't going to put her on the spot and make her speak because she just started on Monday. But we're really pleased to have Caressa. If you don't know Caressa, she goes way back in the community and is very well respected in the community and has a great heart, which is what we want. One of the things I recognized is that there was a gap in, we had maybe a crime occurred in a victim, especially a victim of a violent crime, and maybe by the time that investigation works its course, we get a warrant for their arrest, and then charge it, and then it goes to the prosecutor's office where there is victims assistance help in the prosecutor's office, but that could be months where they're not really getting the help they need, the guidance they need, communication from our department on what's going on with their case, and then also what services are available. There's a lot of resources that the state provides for victims, our crime victims, and our folks in Kalamazoo weren't tapping into that the way they should. So with the great work that Latanya and Caressa will now be doing, that's going to help our crime victims. And our goal is to help them, because I always say the criminal justice system is terrible, but it's the only system we got, and it's certainly terrible if you're a victim of a crime having to deal with the courts, and it's just very intimidating. So we want to help and walk with our victims as much as we can, and I'm really pleased to have Caressa and Latanya doing just a phenomenal job. So we'll go next one. So lastly, I'll touch on this. We can be really good at fighting crime and reducing numbers, but we got to make sure we're treating the community the right way. That's super important. So one of the things that I've always, when I first started as chief, well, where's your data? How you treat the community? How do you know what's your data? And so we started this My90. I know you're all familiar with that. It's our survey tool, and we started that a couple years ago now, so we're getting some really good data on that. And I just shared the year-end report from My90 here in front of you. So we do two things. We do traffic stop, post-traffic stop surveys. So if you get pulled over, you should get a card with a QR code on it. It takes you to the survey, which, and a lot of people say, well, I don't think people are going to be really happy about being pulled over. And it's not about whether you're happy about being pulled over or whether you got a ticket or not, but, procedural justice. How were you treated? Were you treated with respect? Were you, did the officer answer your questions? Did they, it's mostly how you were treated, and we'll go on to that in a second. So again, I'm really pleased to say on traffic stops, if you look in front of you, vast majority rate the experience after a traffic stop as either positive or very positive with their interaction with the officer. And if you look at this, this chart here, and this is all races. So this is overall aggregate numbers. If you go to the next slide there, Chief Green. And again, these are the procedural justice questions that we measure. And if you see that, 95% of the folks that we stopped said that they were treated with respect, which is huge. 93% said they were treated fairly. 92% said they were listened to. So 95% understood what they were told. So all very positive on traffic stops. So go to the next one. Now this one I think is interesting because this one you filtered out by race, and this one is Black, African American, Hispanic, Latino, and Native American. So typically populations where historically we've struggled as not only law enforcement in Kalamazoo but nationwide to build trust. And so you look at that by race, and to me it's really reassuring as chief to say, well, these numbers are the same as the overall numbers, so we're not treating people differently based on their demographics or race. So I think that's super encouraging. Again, vast majority either positive or very positive. Next one. This is the same numbers, and again, 93% said they were treated with respect, 90 in the 90s. So again, I think that's really encouraging. So the data is good, and we're going to keep doing this. The thing I also love about My90 is it allows people to not just check these boxes on a rating scale, but allows them to free text comments. So, so they, most of the times we have a lot of positive comments about the officers and their interactions, and which is good because what we do is we have all these monitors in the stations and at headquarters, and we put those positive comments on there for the officers really to recognize their good work and also rewards them and encourages more positive contacts. And officers love to see the comments, and there are some really great ones on there. So next one there, Chief Green. And I have to end with this, Chief Green. You want to touch on this? They're probably tired of hearing me talk.
You go ahead.
Okay, but we are hiring. I always say this. So our hiring process just started Monday.
Monday.
Yep. So we are looking for good people. Please spread the word. We always say we can, train the skills and stuff, but we have to hire the people with the right heart to do this work because it's hard work. It's not easy. You have to have the right patience and temperament, and you have to care for the community. And so we're very fortunate. We still get a lot of good people, but we need more. And so if you know someone, please spread the word. Or if some of you are looking for another career, you know, apply today, as it says. So I think that's all I got. Yeah, time for any questions, and I'll turn it over to the chair.
We have some questions.
The community partners you mentioned, if someone's interested in that, would they contact you and try and get a group organized, or are there groups that we could join, or
You talking about our outreach?
the community partner?
So those are folks that are carefully vetted, because we have to have, now we'll take anyone's help, but as far as our outreach that we send out in the community, you have to have someone that is respected in the community and someone that understands maybe some of these things some of these families are going through. So a lot of our outreach folks have lived experience with some adversity in their lives, and so we have a real close group, and it's taken us, you know, years to build this group. So we started this really back in 2016, and so, you know, we got 9 years into this work, and so we're really blessed to have those partnerships, but there's certainly many other ways that you can partner with us instead of just being out there doing outreach, but yeah.
Good, thank you. I also want to compliment you. I've noticed a couple police cars on Stadium lately, trying to maintain control there, but thank you for that police presence. I appreciate it.
Yeah, traffic enforcement is also
Traffic, oh my
another
gosh,
real
yeah.
big concern, yeah.
Other questions?
I have one quick question. A lot of your stats in the video especially were impressive. There were a lot of the seconds reporting for the response times for the fire department, for law enforcement. And it was going really quick, but I jotted down about 400 seconds for response time.
Yep.
Is that for emergent calls? What is the
Yep.
response time for non-emergency calls?
I don't have the data for non-emergency calls, but we try to keep 300 seconds for all you know, emergency calls. And so I can get that data, but I don't know what that is. But we really hammer on response time, not just in progress calls, but all calls. And yeah, it can be a little bit longer, especially as what dispatch has to do is prioritize calls. So if we are dealing with a lot of in progress calls, whether it's accidents, rescues, crimes in progress, and you call because someone you know, destroyed your mailbox, those calls probably will take longer if we're stacking calls. So that can kind of be a case-by-case basis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, I think very impressive. You know, keep up the good work. One of the things I noted that you didn't talk about, in particular in the technology area, was the drones.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I was trying to be brief, but drones is a big part of that as well. You know, again, we use those for many things. We just had an autistic child that walked away from the house down in Millwood, and we were able to use drones to help with that. But also, it's much safer for us if we have a suspect that flees on foot, especially at night. That's always kind of a dangerous thing, foot pursuits, especially in the night, in the darkness. And so we're able to set a perimeter and then put up a drone and locate the person and be able to coordinate the response to them. So it's just much safer. And we've had a lot of success with that, and I'm just really, I think that's one of the things that's helping us, because I think people know if I break into a house and someone calls the police, there's a good chance I'm going to get caught, which is why I in particular look at breaking and enterings. I think we're down over 50% over 5 years, which is huge. So.
Just piggybacking off of what Chief Boyson just said, last Friday I got to go on a ride along with KDPS when there was the shooting over in Township, unfortunately led to a homicide. And KDPS launched a drone, I believe it was your agency, and county had a dog out, and they caught the guy within, I think, 20 or 25 minutes that night, and got to be kind of a first-hand witness to the quick response times that the new technology can lead to. So kudos there.
And thank you for being out there riding along. And I do think that's the key, right? So if you commit a crime and you get caught within an hour or two, you're going to think twice, right, if you do it again. And I think we want that word to get out that, you know, we're going to do everything we can to get you in custody as soon as possible if you do something, you know, that you shouldn't do.
Have you ever compared your statistics to other cities, perhaps in the Midwest, that are of comparable size, population-wise, demographics, and so forth, just to see how we might stack up to others?
Yes, so actually, I just looked at that and looked at cities in Michigan, all cities in Michigan, to see where we stack up. Now, I can tell you, you got to use caution when you look at those numbers because they can be very skewed. In fact, if you look at, and those are based off the uniform crime reports that we provide to the state police and through them the FBI, because, and they actually warn you right there that you really shouldn't compare city to cities because not everyone reports things the same way. And a perfect example, in Kalamazoo Public Safety, because I think there are some departments that underreport. I can tell you, I do believe, and I've thought this for a long time, I think in Kalamazoo sometimes we have a tendency to over-report. And I can tell you why is because we are a public safety model. We put more officers on the street that would be sitting in a fire station in most cities. And so you know in Kalamazoo, when you call the police to say, like, someone smashed my mailbox, we're going to send an officer every time, okay? Some departments won't even respond to calls like that. So, so I think there are some cities that people just don't report crimes because they just know that nothing's going to happen. Where in Kalamazoo, I think people are comfortable calling us reporting crimes. So that, I think, can skew your numbers. But I looked at the 2024 numbers. That's the most recent data we have. And I think Kalamazoo was 11th in violent crime and 20-something in property crime. Again, that's not necessarily apples to apples, but it gives you an idea. But I think especially with our 2025 numbers, we're going to continue to drop even further down that list, which I'm real pleased to see. But so it kind of gives you an idea.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the things I talk a lot to citizens about, and I think it's a point of pride in terms of the transparency page, right? Yeah. Our statistics are out there. You can find a lot of information about what's going on, and I think that's just, if nothing else, I think it also helps to build trust because they see what's happening and where it's happening. And so I congratulate you on having that page and having it, reflecting the most accurate information and data that's out there.
Yeah, thanks. And we update that. Crimes, calls for service gets updated daily, so I don't think there's too many other places that, a lot of times you're looking at old data, but we make sure our stuff is kept up to date. And so we got great crime analyst, Spencer Bridges, that makes sure that's available and possible. So, anything else? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Next, we have an opportunity for the general public comments. Speakers would have 3 minutes for their comments. We'll start with anyone in-person speakers and then go to call-in speakers. People who want to offer comments via phone should call 888-382-9556 starting now through the end of this public comment period. While the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board welcomes your comments, this is not a time for dialogue between speakers and board members or city staff. So that your concerns can be addressed, we ask you to provide your contact information. Also be mindful of the time limit and finish your sentence within the time expiration. Do we have any in-person comments? And are there any online?
There are no calls at this time.
Thank you. In that case, we'll move on to the announcement of our upcoming meetings. February 10th, 2026, followed by the meeting in March, which is on March 10th, 2026. If there are no other comments or additions, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
I wish our city commission meeting could go there.